Sets of needles, 2 IV bags, 2 of everything, enough to take care of 2 separate operations. We'll take a sample back to the sanctuary, break it down, and try to find out what it does. But for right now, everyone take a look around. What are we looking for? Stephanie asked. Clues. Stephanie glanced at Tanith, saw her raise an eyebrow skeptically, and managed to restrain her grin. Skullduggery and Ghastly walked slowly, passing their gaze over every surface, examining every centimetre of the machines, the table and the surrounding area. Stephanie and Tanith found themselves side by side, looking straight down at the floor. What does a clue look like? Tanith whispered. Stephanie fought the giggle down and whispered back, I'm not sure. I'm looking for a footprint or something. Have you found one yet? No, but that's probably because I haven't moved from this spot. Maybe we should move. Pretend we know what we're doing. That's a good idea. They started to walk, very slowly, still looking straight down. How's the magic coming along? Tanith asked, keeping her voice low. I moved a shell. Hey, congratulations. Stephanie shrugged modestly. It was only a shell. Makes no difference. Well done. Thanks. What age were you when you first did magic? I was born into it, Tanith answered. Folks were sorcerers. My brother was always doing something. I grew up doing magic. I didn't know you had a brother. Oh, yeah, a big brother and all. You have any brothers? I'm an only child. Tanith shrugged. I always wanted a little sister. My brother's great. I love him to death. But I always wanted a little sister to talk to share my secrets with, you know. I wouldn't mind a sister either. Any chance of that happening? I can't see what would be in it for my parents. I mean, they have the perfect daughter already. What more could they want? Tanith laughed, then tried to cover it up with a cough. Found something? Skullduggery asked from behind them. Tanith turned, looking serious. No, sorry. I thought I had, but no, it turned out to be, more floor. Stephanie hugged herself, trying to stop her shoulders from shaking with laughter. Okay, Skullduggery said. Well, keep looking. Tanith nodded, turned back and nudged Stephanie to get her to shut up. Stephanie clamped a hand over her mouth and had to look away when she saw Tanith's face, straining to hold her composure. Cow, Tanith muttered, and that was it. The floodgates opened, and Stephanie doubled over with laughter that echoed throughout the warehouse. Tanith pointed at Stephanie and backed away. Skullduggery, she's not being professional. Stephanie's laugh proved infectious, and Tanith was soon on her knees. Skullduggery and Ghastly just looked at them. What's going on? Ghastly asked. I'm not entirely sure, Skullduggery answered. They looked at Stephanie and Tanith and shook their heads. Women, they said together. Stephanie wiped the tears from her eyes and looked around at Skullduggery, and then something fell from the ceiling and landed behind the detective without a sound. Her laughter vanished as she stood. Behind you! She yelled.
And thank you, Skullduggery, superfan reading. We're still working on on getting Derek back into the sim. Big round of applause for Skullduggery superfan. And we're gonna go to the next reading while we're working to get Derek back. He's just around the corner. I think this sim is just too full of superfans, so we're gonna thin out a little bit. Um, no worries, you won't get thrown out. We will just open up more space. The the next in case you're just tuning in, this is the Second Life Book Club, and our guest is Derek Landy. He is currently in a meadow taking a little nap, and he will come back shortly as soon as we solved 2, 3 problems, and that's why we got Skullduggery Superfan here. Derek Landy's new book is Until the End. That's the 15th book in the series. There is a book of short stories available, and there's also the grimoire. Now, the second excerpt that Skullduggery Superfan is reading, this is where Stephanie's now Valkyrie. This is from book number 2, and Skullduggery meets one of his nemesises, Baron Vengeance. He's a necromancer, and he's working on getting the grotesquerie back together, and get the faceless ones back onto the planet Earth. Now, the faceless ones, yes, you guessed it, people who are not familiar with Skullduggery Pleasant, there's a lot of nods to the great P. Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft, and also some other um, big horror franchises like Nightmare on Elm Street and other things. But let's hear from Skullduggery Superfan. This is from the chapter Old Enemies from book number 2, Playing with Fire.
Skullduggery crept to the castle entrance, and Valkyrie moved to the very edge of the collapsed roof, lying flat and peering over. The infected had managed to place the mummified figure into the crate without dropping it again. Valkyrie saw their eyes narrow when Skullduggery walked up, Vengeance still at his back to him.
"Hello, Baron,"
Skullduggery said. She saw Vengeance stiffen slightly, then turn.
"Of course,"
Vengeance said.
"Who do they send to try and take me down? Not even a man. Not even a monster. They send you."
Skullduggery gave a little shrug.
"Have you been, Baron?"
"You taint me,"
Vengeance said, disgust in his voice.
"Even being in your presence, it taints me. I can feel it in the air. Even these infected, these half-undead, even they are more worthy of my time than you would ever be."
Skullduggery nodded.
"So, you married or anything? Do I hear the pitter-patter of tiny, evil feet?"
"I will destroy you."
"You're still upset about that time I made you explode, aren't you? I can tell."
"You never stop talking, do you?"
"I don't have to talk,"
Skullduggery said.
"I can be quiet."
A moment passed.
"So, who have you got in the crate? Is it the shriveled, lifeless patchwork corpse of the grotesquerie? Am I right? Because if it is, I'm afraid I can't let you take it. I could, give you its big toe or something as a keepsake, but that's about it."
"What you are saying, skeleton, is blasphemous."
"You're the one who dug up your own god."
Vengeance started forward, taking his cutlass from its sheath.
"I wish I didn't have to kill you now. I wish I could see the fury it would wreak upon you for this blasphemy."
"You do realize I've got no skin to cut, right?"
Vengeance smiled again as he approached.
"This sword is woven razor, the same process they use to make the cleaver scythes. It will shear through your bones."
"Ah," Skullduggery said, taking a step back. Vengeance was almost upon him.
"What's this?"
"No jokes? No taunts? Let me see how confident you are now, you abomination."
Skullduggery's hand went into his jacket and came back out with his revolver. He aimed it squarely at Vengeance's face. Vengeance froze.
"As it turns out," Skullduggery said after a moment's consideration, "I'm still pretty confident."
"Are you going to shoot me?"
Vengeance sneered.
"I wouldn't be surprised. What would a thing like you know about honor? Only a heathen would bring a gun to a sword fight."
"And only a moron would bring a sword to a gunfight."
Vengeance scowled.
"As you can see,"
he said,
"you are vastly outnumbered."
"I usually am."
"Your situation has become quite untenable."
"It usually does."
"You are within moments of being swarmed by these filthy creatures of undeath and torn apart in a maelstrom of pain and fury."
Skullduggery paused.
"Okay, that's a new one on me."
"Kill him!"
Vengeance barked. The infected started forward. Valkyrie saw Skullduggery wave his arm, and a gust of wind raised a cloud of dust to obscure her view. She glimpsed Vengeance backing up, shielding his eyes. There were gunshots, flashes of fire, and guttural snarls of anger, and the infected flew backwards through the air. When the dust cleared, only